And were there any like particular challenges, like growing your upbringing and the environment you were around in general, in terms of like the community environment and stuff like that? Because you mentioned being around, South London. Like, what were some of the, particular challenges that you might have faced, during that sort of growing up period?
I think some of the challenges were, still being stereotyped at times as a young black male, being able to going in environments where I felt quite, judged, for being quite young. I was always been a broad kind of guy, broad-shouldered, big boy. Do you know what I mean? And I just think when you're in certain scenarios, and it was a culture where there was a hoodie culture at the time. There was all these cultures that were part of our youth. People. This is when mobile phones started coming out, and people were getting into problems with mobile phones, and people were transitioning into things that weren't necessarily beneficial for them. And I often got a lot of stereotyping because of that. I think what everyone was mostly shocked by, especially when I was young, is when I used to speak and they almost were like, oh, actually, he comes across very well, rather than the stereotypical kind of outlook on a young black male of my age at the time, to be the aggressor, to be the person who's always seeking conflict. Amongst those challenges, it was also growing up in an environment where, although I had these figures as males to grasp from, I didn't have someone consistent and for myself, like in a very selfish way, like when you have a father figure in the house, you're quite selfish to their love and to their attention. So I guess I had to go and find myself in that. And in doing that, I found myself in environments that weren't necessarily conducive for me. Now I look back, but I took from it what I could at the time to learn, and obviously kind of grow. So challenges, the challenges were vast, man. Like I remember there was a culture of being approached on the bus and being asked what area you're from, and things like that, and you just think like, there's me going to where I'm going to in a humble way, and I'm being approached because I'm seen as a target. And having to stand there by yourself on your own in that moment and just manage that situation and trying to get out of that in a way to not be hurt, and ultimately that's the goal. So Ash, man, the challenges were crazy. I'm glad I came out of it in a sense that I wasn't ever really hurt in any way, shape or form, but at the same time, it's something to learn from at the end of the day. It's something to grow from.